1-800-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show if you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon. We're joined now by Cory Lewandowski, the former campaign manager for Donald Trump's 2016 campaign. He's still in contact with the former president. Cory Lewandowski, I assume you watched the pep rally at the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue this afternoon.
Well, Howie, the good news is I'll be running for re-election to the United States Senate from North Carolina. Isn't that what Joe Biden told us today? If you like me, take a look. If you don't, vote for the other guy. I mean, he tells us today he's been in office for 64 days. The first time he's talked to the media, his intention is to run for re-election. He doesn't even know what office he's serving in, Howie. It's just kind of crazy today. Honestly, it was stranger than fiction.
He's not all there, is he? But he gets this. The second question was something like, you're such a good and decent moral man. That's why they're coming here, isn't it, Mr. President? I mean, when was the last time Donald Trump got a question like that?
Well, Joe, you fell up Air Force One 3 different times up the stairs. Are we going to ask about your mental acuity, or it must be a health issue? Of course not. No questions that any president has ever received. I mean, look, I know the far left-wing media love Barack Obama, but the way they're treating Joe Biden with such kid gloves is really a disservice to the world of journalism, how it truly is. And I mean that for everybody who wants to be a journalist going forward. They're so far in the tank that the reason you're Joe Biden and you don't have to do press conferences is because the media is your biggest microphone. Talk about a fluff piece today. Donald Trump is still being chastised for everything he does and getting no credit for Operation Warp Speed or anything else, and Joe Biden takes all the credit for it. It's kind of crazy.
How about last Sunday? I went back and I got the exact quote, so I would have it. They asked him. He was coming back from wherever he was, the basement in Wilmington probably, and at the White House. Someone asked him, "What are you going to do about the border?" And he said, quote, "A lot more. We are in the process of doing it now, including making sure we reestablish what existed before, which is they can stay in place and make their case from their home countries." I think that's what Donald Trump had set up, and it took him months, if not years, to get that policy in place. Joe Biden ended it, and now he tells people he's going to restore the same policy, and it barely gets any attention at all in the mainstream media.
How it also gets no attention that he has people living in cages, which Barack Obama built, that they're at 700% capacity, that there's no COVID distancing in these cages down on the border towns, right? There's nothing to see here. And what did we see? The media wasn't even allowed to film these facilities, and there was no outcry. There was no outcry that said, hey, they won't let us in. It was just amazing. And so, look, Joe Biden has talked a game of unification, of bringing everyone together. And the truth is he's done the exact opposite. He has governed through executive order and fiat. And now, what do we hear today? Joe Biden, who spent almost 50 years in the United States Senate, is saying he's open to reforming the filibuster, right? All of a sudden to get his agenda done. It's really amazing how quickly things turn and how little pushback he will receive from members of the media who will call that into question. Because if the Republicans had done that under the Trump administration, when Mitch McConnell was in charge, it would be the number one story anyone was talking about, how the system is being destroyed.
And they all describe all of these odious legislative initiatives as Democrat talking points: immigration reform, climate control, voting rights. These are Democrat talking points. They're destroying systems that have worked, and you're right. There's no pushback. It's just they all genuflect before they talk to him. They wouldn't even let Peter Doocy ask a question.
Well, of course not, because Peter Doocy is one of the few people with the White House press credential that actually asks a tough question. How many questions did you hear today about Governor Cuomo? Can you imagine for 1 second if Donald Trump was the president of the United States and Chris Sununu or any other Republican governor in America had the same scandal going on that both Governor Cuomo and now Governor Whitmer have going, and not getting a question? Of course it would never happen. You would have, every time a Republican ever said something, Donald Trump had to apologize for that person, regardless of if he said it or not. But Joe Biden gets a complete pass on these things. Kamala Harris, there's an investigation. Let's keep moving forward. Nothing to see here. The latest news on Cuomo, which no one even asked Biden about today was that his family, and particularly his brother, had a state physician go to his house to treat him. I mean,
how about the fat cat contributors, Cory? They're sending him up into penthouses in Manhattan, out to the Hamptons in their multi-million-dollar estates. His campaign contributors are getting not one but two nurse teams delivered to them to take the COVID tests for them or to administer the tests. And you're right. Nobody's talking about it.
There's nothing to see here, right? And Cuomo has doubled down. And hey, this reminds me. It's so reminiscent of what took place in the state of Virginia with the Democrat governor there, who never actually answered, was he the guy in blackface or was he the guy wearing the Ku Klux Klan outfit, right? And everybody just let him go, and the guy's still there. It would never happen if you're a Republican. And I'll tell you, I think the American people are tired of it. I think it's a right-of-center country, and I think what we're going to see, and our polling data is already indicating this, that in 2022, remember, Bill Clinton lost 54 seats in his first midterm election. Barack Obama lost 63 seats in the first midterm. I believe that Joe Biden is on that same path, and the Republicans are going to have a massive victory in 2022 because the Democrats are once again overstepping their bounds. I've spent a lot of time talking with the president about this. He is fully engaged in races. You saw that just this week he made the endorsement in a primary race in Georgia for the Secretary of State's race. I was in Georgia yesterday meeting with people down there. This President Trump, is engaged, and our priority is to take back the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, and it's looking better and better every day because of the Biden policies.
Were you with the president during the press conference, so-called?
No, I wasn't with him, but we had a nice laugh afterwards. I had to give him a call and just make sure that we saw this thing together. And so it was actually, we had a nice laugh about it. And he said, can you imagine, can you believe the way that they treat this guy? And it's so true, right? I mean, the president knows it. Everybody knows it. And that's okay, Howie, because it's making our case. It's making our case. And what I articulated last night in Georgia was we should not be surprised at what the left is doing because they told us they were going to do it. They told us exactly what they were going to do. They were going to transform the filibuster. They were going to reform the courts. They were going to take away our guns. They were going to tax us to death, whether in the process of doing all those things. And they've only been there for 90 days so far.
But if they get this voter fraud enhancement HR1 through, it's going to be tough to win anything, isn't it? I mean, that's got to be job one, stopping that. How do you stop that?
Look, it's going to be very hard, and I think that we're going to have to rely on the U.S. Senate. Look, the good news is the House has a very small majority. It's the smallest majority in modern history for the Democrats in the House, which means they don't have a lot of margin of error. And in the U.S. Senate, you've got a number of members there, including guys like the astronaut from Arizona, Kelly, and Joe Manchin, who have said that they're going to govern as moderates. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but there's no extra votes for them there. And I think it's really, really hard to tell people that we don't need a voter identification. We don't need any type of verification of who you are before you go and cast a ballot. And Howie, in my little hometown up in New Hampshire, we saw a problem with the voting system. We know that the count continues to go on. And just to put it in perspective, there was an 11% error rate in what the machine count said compared to what the actual hand count said. 11% error rate in favor of the Democrat now. Now, I'm not making any statements that are pejorative or disparaging. I'm just giving you the facts. And that the four candidates who are running for Republican state representative in my little town, each were shorted over 300 votes compared to the Democrats. It was only found after the recount.
How about another part of HR1? Automatic registration of everybody who gets a driver's license. California has given driver's licenses to maybe 1 million illegal aliens, maybe more. There's millions of illegal aliens with driver's licenses.
Convicted felons and illegal aliens are getting driver's licenses faster than most people are getting their stimulus checks, right? And then they're entitled for the stimulus checks too. I mean, it's really amazing what's going on right now, and it should scare people because once our democracy is at stake, once the very fabric of how we go and cast our ballots are at stake and are questioning if the results are valid, we're no better than any third-rate dictatorship.
I know. It's is the president going to run in 2024, do you think, or not?
Well, we get a couple of variables to look into. Number one is his health. Obviously, if his health is good, I think he really wants to do it. Number two, let's see if the America First policies that he has put forth continue to be first and foremost at the ballot box in 2022. And if Republicans take back the House and the Senate and his health is good and we build the operation, which, part of my job is to build, which is to go out and raise money and support those candidates and support his initiatives, I think he's going to take a very, very serious look at it. The great news is, Howie, he's got 100% name ID. His endorsement is the most important thing in the Republican primary. And if Donald Trump were to get in the race, you might get token opposition like Larry Hogan or Charlie Baker or something like that, but you're not going to see any real conservative run against him because Donald Trump has governed as the most conservative president in our lifetime, and that sets us up for a very interesting race in 2024.
Did you see the story that's breaking in the New York Post? Jack Dorsey, the chairman of Twitter, was there. It was at a congressional hearing today, and he said it was a total mistake to block the New York Post from putting up the Hunter Biden laptop story. Now that it's too late, it was literally just a process error. This was not against them in any particular way, he said. This is Jack Dorsey said this. It was not against anyone in a particular way.
Howie, the fourth largest newspaper in America, is what they blocked. And not only did they block the article from appearing, they blocked anybody who attempted to share the article from appearing because they knew, the polling data indicated it, that if people knew about Hunter Biden and what was really going on, there was a 30% less likely chance that they would be voting for Joe Biden because of it. And so they clearly used their big tech censorship to advance the campaign of Joe Biden by suppressing the stories of Hunter Biden. We know that to be true. The problem is there's been no recourse for those big tech companies. And the simple apology, oops, we made a mistake, what is now 5 months later, should be unacceptable. I believe that there should be a fine. First and foremost, they have to repeal Section 230 of the code to treat these people fairly, because right now they have just unlimited ability to do whatever they want. But more than that, there should be a fine for every single infraction that they did by blocking that, by preventing people's First Amendment rights through that medium. And I think, make that fine $5 million per and see how much Jack Dorsey's paying attention. These mistakes never happen in the other direction. It's amazing. They never, ever happen on behalf of Republicans.
Yeah, Steve Scalise asked him, he said, well, you didn't block when the Washington Post made up the story about what Donald Trump said to the Georgia bureaucrat, find the fraud. That was a totally bogus, 100% false story. That wasn't blocked. It's still up there.
Well, of course it is. And by the way, Twitter has been so selective. And Howie, part of the reason that Donald Trump is going to launch his own.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's my last question.
Care about.
What is that going to involve?
For this exact reason. So look, we've been very, very candidly, we've been working on this for probably the better part of 3 months now. It's still probably 2 to 3 months away. And I don't know anything about how to write code, but this is a fairly detailed program. But it's going to be similar to a Facebook and or Twitter, where the president will be able to post information and you'll also have an opportunity, and it'll be an interactive communication tool. It'll give the president the power to continue to talk to all of his supporters and the 75 million Americans out there who voted for him. But it's also going to be a forum where if you want to communicate with him and pass on ideas or suggestions, you'll be able to do that. What are some of the names it's going to be called? But it will be a place where he will not be removed for using his First Amendment.
What's the name? What are some names that are being suggested for it?
Howie, I don't know, because at the end of the day, what I don't do is I don't get in front of, what may be the greatest marketer ever, right? And so I'm going to be sure that he's going to come up with the name of the platform. It is a fairly detailed process to do this, because you can't be on the Amazon servers, because if you do, what happens is, like what happened to Parler, they can take you down anytime they want.
I know.
So this whole thing is being built from scratch, and it is a pretty massive undertaking.
How about instead of Twitter?
To benefit the American people.
How about instead of Twitter, a Trumper?
We could do that, right?
That would be good, right?
Howie, look, you should go and have this conversation with the president. I know you spend time with him. You go and sit down and say, hey, Mr. President, I got some names for you, and I'm sure he's going to be very interested in listening to what your advice is. He's very good at that.
I know. I was glad I could tell him about the voter situation in your hometown of Wyndham the last time I saw him. The place is closed, though, now. I hope it reopens soon, because, I like to take people there. People love going there, as you know. But anyway,
I'll be there Monday. Look, I don't think they're serving food, but I'll still be there Monday.
Well, why don't you come by Boca here at Newsmax? Come on down.
There are too many beautiful people over there, Howie. I go in and out, into Palm Beach real quick, do my meetings, I get out of Dodge. I can't be seen with all the beautiful people.
All right. Met Josh Mandel today. He was at Newsmax. Okay, I gotta run. Thank you, Cory Lewandowski, for being with us. We appreciate it. If you haven't tried Super Beets Heart Chews yet, you are missing out. These things are great. They're little candies. They look like candies. They're wrapped in tin foil. They taste great, but they're good for you. They're good for your heart health. They're good for your blood pressure. They're good for your circulation. You take 2 a day, and it makes you feel a lot better. Super Beets Heart Chews combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beets Chews has been clinically shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy the way nature intended, without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. Now you can take just 2 delicious chews a day. Look at how small they are. Anytime, anywhere, to get the blood pressure support you need and the energy you want. I take one before I go out on my bike ride in the morning, and then I take another one. I'll take one right now when I finish doing this spot. It gives me a little boost of energy for the last couple of hours of the show and whatever else I've got to do tonight. It's really good. It's good for you, and it tastes good. Do what I did and support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Chews. Get your Super Beets Chews today at superbeetsradio.com/Howie. When you buy 2 bags, see how big these are. Big bags. There's a lot of them in here. They will throw in the 3rd bag for free. That's superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr